Good morning and welcome to my advanced conversation class. This is Professor Kent Lee. I'm going to go through the syllabus and course overview today. So today's session is a pre-recorded video. Most class sessions will be Zoom sessions, but today, the first day, usually the first day of a class is going over basic stuff, course introduction, going over the syllabus, the 강의 계획, and such. So that's what we're doing today. So I'm just recording this video for our first session. The next class session will start with Zoom. So today's session, video. Next time we'll start with Zoom. And in the LMS I will put a link. It's a permanent link to our Zoom sessions for this class. I'll put that in the LMS. I'm also going to put a revised copy of the syllabus in the LMS. It should be there as soon as this video goes, or by the time you're watching this video on the first day of the week, the first class day. The class syllabus revised version should be there. I've made a few changes, and also soon I will put up, very important, get that Zoom link. It's one Zoom link for the whole semester for all of our Zoom sessions. From time to time, it might be a pre-recorded lecture video like this one, especially now and maybe the last week of classes, and maybe certain times like around holiday times I might do recorded videos. Mostly it's going to be Zoom sessions, live Zoom sessions. So if any class is not a Zoom session, I will notify you in the LMS. So let's go through the syllabus. You should get a syllabus from the course registration system or from the LMS. What I am going to post online though in the LMS, which is probably not in the course registration system, will be a revised version, a newer version of my syllabus. And I'll also post it on my class webpage. More on that in a minute. A bit about me. My last name is Lee, but as you can tell, I'm not Korean or Chinese. Now, some of you may have had me before, some of you haven't. If you haven't, you may be surprised to find an American named Lee, but it's not that unusual. It is, in my case, well, you can find it in the dictionary. It used to be a common word in the English language. Not so much anymore, but it's an old Anglo-Saxon word that is from Old English, Old England. It's an Anglo-Saxon word. It meant like the wind-protected side of a mountain or other things. And it's not a common word today, but it used to be. You can find it in the dictionary. It survives in a few words like leeway, like freedom, flexibility, leeward. So windward is something facing the wind. Leeward is facing away from the wind. These are words that you use when you're talking about mountains, or if you're talking about sailing and such. So my last name is Lee. It's British American. My ancestors came from England and Scotland to the United States in the 1700s, 1800s. So it's a totally American name. It can be a first or last name in English. It's a bit more common in England, by the way, as a name. My contact information is here, my emails and website and such. There's one section of this class, Tuesday, Thursday morning this semester. There is my usual Gmail address, Naver, or I also have a Pukyong Day address. Need to put in here. And you might also see in different places in my syllabus and my booklet, Kentley7+B at Gmail, and that's a little Gmail trick. That's if you are submitting an assignment by email, that +B is a little Gmail trick that sends it to a folder in my Gmail for this class. This class is different from other conversation classes you've had. If you had a conversation class from someone else, mine are different. Mine are more academically focused, especially this one. Some of you might have had my previous conversation classes. This one is even more academically focused. I'm kind of preparing you for a professional workplace or academic environments. So there's more of a focus on English for academic purposes, EAP, in this class. more like presentation, discussion skills in this class. So again, my conversation classes are different in general. They are more academically focused, and this one particularly more so. This is a sort of a major elective for most of you. It's an elective within the department that you can choose for your graduation requirements. And as such, it is more academically focused. There's more of a focus on critical thinking skills, and I'll say a bit more about that in a minute. Mostly Zoom format, readings and materials. Right now in this pandemic, I'm not going to have you buy a textbook. I actually don't like most language textbooks out there. Most of them are, pretty bad and expensive. I make my own. And since I can't really have one made at a copy shop, print shop, and send you there this semester, I'm just going to send it to you for free. It's going to be a PDF, which you'll download through the LMS. I'll put it up in the LMS sometime the first week of classes. I'll put it up in the LMS. You can download it. And I might revise it and say midterm time, okay, here's a revised version, and you need to download it again. But I will mostly use a free booklet that I have created. I've put together over the years of teaching courses like this. There is also a class website which we will sometimes use occasionally. The class website is in the syllabus, and I'll post a link in the LMS. We'll use it from time to time, and sometimes for our class discussions, a Google Doc, a shared Google document where we will use and use for sharing notes. I'll share notes and questions with you that are not in the book, vocabulary. We'll have like discussion times, and in groups, Zoom groups, your breakout rooms, collaboratively you all be writing your thoughts and your comments in the Google Doc. We'll do that sometimes. I used it last semester for the first time, and it worked out pretty well. And it's a good way of kind of doing some discussion. So there's the booklet, there's the website, which we will use sometimes for a few things, and a Google document. Course components, I'll explain more of these in detail in a few minutes. Attendance is part of your grade. I'm going to check attendance a bit differently this semester, more on that in a minute. Homework and minor assignments, these might include things we do in class as well as things you do out of class, including Google Forms. I like to use Google Forms. And if you've had my class before, you may be used to my style. Short video assignments, something that we did in my classes last semester, but this time it's kind of a separate thing. You, instead of like a class presentation, I'll probably have you record short video assignments. These are kind of like 1 or 2 minute short video assignments. And we've got a midterm and final topic, and these can be related. And they relate to the class theme. So let's look at the schedule. So on the next page of the syllabus, there's a tentative schedule. Tentative meaning some of this can change. Especially this semester, this is a Zoom semester. It's hard to predict how things will go. And there are also a lot of holidays and stuff in the second half of the semester, including the Spring Festival. I'm not sure how that's going to happen, or if it's going to happen with the current social distancing policies. I don't know what's going to happen there. Then the week 15, the makeup week, where I might do some videos instead. So things can change because it's a bit unpredictable how things are going to work out this semester. But this class, more than my other classes, more than my other conversation classes, gets a bit more academic. More professional. There's a lot of focus on critical thinking skills. And then also kind of detecting and addressing and dealing with misconceptions. Why? Well, there are several reasons. One, it's kind of hard to get a job. You might think, oh, humanities degrees, are those really worthwhile? Well, we'll talk about how those can actually be worthwhile. A humanities degree. Those actually can be a good thing. But when you're on the job market, doing job interviews and they say, okay, what skills do you have? You need to be able to point to something other than your degree on paper, because they may not know what an English degree or a language degree or a humanities degree really is. So if you can talk about, well, I have these critical thinking skills that I learned in college from my humanities degree, intellectual flexibility, ability to see, to carefully analyze and see problems, things like that. Those are important things you can talk about in an interview, and these are going to be emphasized in my class. And also common misconceptions. This has become a very serious growing problem. On one level, just as consumers, somebody might say to you, hey, here's a cool metal bracelet. It's made out of germanium, or I think in Korean you call it germanium. You got to buy this. This has great health properties. It'll make you feel better. To believe that. Just as a consumer, you need to be able to think critically about potential scams, attempts to deceive you, scams, pseudoscience, false science, stuff that pretends to be science. You may be in a workplace environment where some decision making is influenced by people who aren't thinking straight, and you got to be able to call it. Say, hey, no, that's not right. That doesn't sound right. You need critical thinking skills for the job to be a good, intelligent citizen. Whether it's as a consumer or who to vote for or making decisions in your workplace, in a company meeting, you need to be able to argue convincingly for why something is right or wrong. Today, increasingly through social media, there are a lot of all kinds of false rumors, fake news, and even conspiracy theories. Think about what's happening in my country, in the US, what has happened in the past 4 or 5 years. It's absolute insanity. Why? Why did a violent mob converge on the US Capitol on January 6th and attempt to storm the Capitol? They were fueled by conspiracy theories, false conspiracy theories. And if you think that's not a problem, it is. It's maybe not as severe in Korea, but it's only a matter of time before it becomes a problem. Actually, I would argue sometimes it has been a problem. You can probably find times, well, think about just false beliefs. It may not be conspiracy theories, but false beliefs in Korea. The fan death theory. Is that really true? Is that really a thing? No, but it affects people and their habits and their buying decisions. And you want to make sure that your habits aren't shaped by misinformation. As consumers, as intelligent people, as workers, you need to be able to think straight and intelligently. And we need to guard against maybe the influence of false beliefs, false internet rumors, conspiracy theories. So much of American politics lately has been influenced by people who are affected by conspiracy theories, who believe in really crazy conspiracies. And it is having very harmful effects in politics and in the social atmosphere in the US, in England, in Europe, and other countries. And probably some here in Korea. Think about something else, like humanities. There is value in studying humanities if you can articulate that in a job interview, but also when you're dealing with friends or family members who say, you study humanities? What's that good for? Well, there is value to it. These are common misconceptions about different academic fields, about humanities, about science, health news. Think about health. We're bombarded by all kinds of misinformation or questionable information through the news media. A new study says this is good for you. Do you believe it because there's a story on the internet or on the TV news that says one study showed that this is good for your health or this is bad for your health? You have to be careful consumers. In this class, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with media literacy, how to better intelligently consume news. Scientific literacy. This is not a science class, but I'm going to give you like the basic tools for understanding what you need to know about science, just to be an informed citizen. Again, someone tries to sell you germanium bracelets, and they give you all this science-sounding stuff that sounds kind of cool, but it's nonsense. So we're going to talk about detecting nonsense, BS, calling BS. If you know that term, it's kind of a bit vulgar. Or baloney detection. There's a famous scientist who talks about baloney detection. Now, baloney is a slang term for bologna, which is a kind of sandwich meat that's sold in the US and other countries, I think the UK and such. It's kind of a cheap quality sandwich meat. It's kind of a ham-based product. It doesn't look like ham. I don't really care for it. If I can give you a sense for how it tastes, imagine if you mix up some chicken and some ham and you put it in your refrigerator for about 2 months without opening it and then try to taste it. It's kind of what it tastes like. But it's kind of also a slang term for nonsense, for BS. And so the theme of this class is baloney detection, and a lot of issues, misconceptions about science, about health news, about humanities issues, about language, about psychology, pop psychology, and it's more social science-y stuff. Now, I have a background mainly in social science, but also in college I was a humanities person, and I really appreciate the humanities. I really appreciate science. I'm also sort of a science nerd. So we're going to talk about all of these kinds of things and exposing myths and pseudoscience and all kinds of false beliefs. And that's the focus of this class. This will make you a more intelligent citizen and better prepared for working on a job where critical thinking skills are needed. And this is something you can say in an interview. I have these critical thinking skills. I know what science is and pseudoscience, and arguing for what I think is right when it comes to making decisions about our business. So that's kind of the theme of the class. You'll kind of pick maybe a topic. There's a wide range of topics, whether it's scams like germanium bracelets or superstitions, like astrology, or conspiracy theories, pseudoscience, health myths, myths about history. All of that we're going to get into this semester, including conspiracy theories. I have some personal experience with conspiracy theories, and I know a lot of people who believe in them. We'll talk about that this semester. So there are number of minor assignments in this class. A lot of them are through Google Forms. I like to use Google Forms for stuff. Attendance is 10% of your grade. Last semester I tried taking attendance through Zoom and it didn't work too well. I would have people just type their student ID numbers in the Zoom chat, but with 5 or 6 classes last semester and over 100 students, it got to be unmanageable when it came time for me to calculate attendance. So I might do that sometimes, but mostly I'm going to rely on a very short Google form. So my Google form assignments and other minor assignments, depending on how hard or involved they are, these assignments might be 5 or 10 or 20 points per assignment. And I'm going to and at the end of the semester I'll add up all the possible points and convert it to like a single grade on a 100-point scale. And I grade these assignments on effort, not just the quality or how accurate your answers are, but effort, how much effort you put into it. So I consider that. And then a particular kind of minor assignment I'm going to start this semester is called a daily poll. And it's a very short Google form assignment. You just go into, every class session I will send you a link in the Zoom chat to today's daily poll. It's a very short Google form assignment. Answer like 1 or 2 questions, that's it, submit it, 5 points if you fill it out. And I'm going to use that to check attendance. I'm going to try using that most of the time to check attendance this semester, instead of using the Zoom for checking attendance, because using Zoom to check attendance became a nightmare for me. I used this system with daily poll Google Forms in the class a couple of years ago. It worked pretty well, and I'm going to do it this semester. We'll have short video assignments. I'll give you a topic and you record a video, like 1 or 2 minutes, and upload it to the LMS. There's some possible topics in here. Midterm and final projects. When I do this kind of stuff, this kind of class, in the past it was group projects. Like as a group you pick like an area that you're interested in, and each person does a particular aspect. So it could be like one whole group of 3 to 6 people is interested in conspiracy theories, a certain kind of conspiracy theories, and maybe each person covers a different aspect. You split up the topic, where each person covers a particular different flavor of a related conspiracy theories. There are a lot of conspiracy theories out there, and a number of them are kind of related, as we'll see. So one person might pick this variant, this version of the conspiracy theory, like Jewish bankers, and this person might pick Illuminati, and they're actually different versions of Illuminati theories. If you don't know what that is, we'll talk about it later. Don't worry. This version of this conspiracy theory, another version, there are many different versions of these things. Or a whole group wants to do pseudoscience, so maybe one person does UFOs, another person does handwriting analysis, another person does astrology and attempts to, or somebody does, maybe a whole group wants to do product scams, scams or deceptive products. Maybe one person does germanium bracelets, another person does copper blankets. Yes, that's a thing. Or copper bracelets, or magnet blankets. That's a thing. I know people have bought those. Anyway, so in the past, this has usually been a group project. You do kind of an informal version for the midterm, and then for the final, you kind of polish it, improve it, or you can maybe modify your topic some for the final version. We're going to see how things go this semester. I prefer to do this as a group project where you all record a group video on a topic. If that doesn't work, we may have to do individual videos for the midterm and final. We'll see how things go, but I would prefer to do it as groups. It works a lot better. It's a better learning experience. So we'll see how things go. General policies. There are a number of other policies here in the syllabus which you should look over and read through. I'm not going to explain all of them here. They're pretty much similar to the policies in my syllabuses. Plural of syllabus is often syllabi. They're kind of similar with my other classes. If you've had my classes before, it's pretty similar stuff. I do use absolute grading, like I give whatever number of A's or B's that people deserve. Now the grading in this class will probably be a little tougher than my previous conversation classes because the topics are a bit more challenging. It's one thing to keep in mind. Attendance, you can have 2 free absences. More than that, you get penalties. There's actually a lot of explanation about absences and other policies in here. Excused absences, I can excuse an absence, for example, if you're sick. Just like on your phone, snap a photo of a doctor's note or your doctor's bill or something and email it to me. Or family emergencies, funerals, some kind of document, take a picture on your phone and email it to me. It's fine if it's in Korean or Chinese or whatever, doesn't matter. I just need a document to prove it. Military exams, you have military exams, women's monthly pink days, just no problem. You can let me know. Documentation for other things. You're required to go to some event in your department, no problem, though the department will probably give you a document that you can send me or give me a picture of it, and that's fine. Things that don't count as absences, if you're just gone too much, extracurricular activities like clubs, cheerleading, sports, that doesn't count. Oversleeping, that doesn't count. If you miss a class, talk to your classmates first and then ask me if you have questions, if you need something. There is an explanation of how I calculate your attendance grade here in the syllabus. We start with kind of a base attendance grade and I deduct points for things like there are too many absences, if you're late too often, or if you're just not really there in class in your Zoom sessions. Your Zoom session is logged in, but you're apparently not there. That happens a lot. I can deduct points. Zoom etiquette. Enter the class session before the class actually starts. If it starts at 9 o'clock, log in before 9 o'clock and be there. Enter with your video on and your audio muted, but turn on your audio when you want to speak up in class or in your groups. We use a lot of group discussion, Zoom breakout rooms, or group sessions a lot. Keep your video on, especially when you're talking with your group mates. Each day Zoom will probably automatically randomly assign you to a group. It's kind of hard to control for me in Zoom, so it'll be like might be a different group each time. But keep your video on so we can see you. Be sure that take short breaks, but otherwise stay in front of your camera. For class sessions and also for your presentations, do show some decent respect. I mean, don't wear your pajamas or underwear. Okay, pajamas, if you just really woke up late, okay, maybe, but in the past, students have done their midterm presentations in their pajamas. That doesn't look good. Would you go to a job interview in your pajamas? Hope not. Other policies, please read. I'm not going to go through all of these. Contacting me. There are several email addresses in here. You can contact me if for some reason there is an emergency. You can find me in Kakao Talk. Just search for Kent Lee 7. That's kind of my address across all kinds of internet platforms, because I like prime numbers, so the 7. I mean, Kent Lee was taken by some other Kent Lee in Chicago, I think, and so I have gone with Kent Lee 7. 7 is a nice prime number. I like prime numbers that don't divide by other numbers than itself. But if it's an emergency, you can find Kakao Talk. Email is the best thing. I might sometimes take a while to respond to email. I tend to go to bed early, or I'm busy with my son. He's a really cute 6-year-old boy. Absolutely fun, by the way. But that's so contact information is in there, and I will post other information soon in the LMS, or it should be posted by class time, the first class session of this week. I think that's it. If you have questions, you can ask them down below in the comment section, or better in the LMS link. So this is going to be on YouTube and of course posted in the LMS. So in the LMS you can ask me questions, because if you have a question, somebody else might have the same question. So post it there and I'll try to answer it. Next class will be in Zoom. So you'll get a Zoom link soon in the LMS, so be sure to log in. And I look forward to meeting you in Zoom and sort of getting to know you, which is awkward through Zoom. I don't like this Zoom format, but oh well. Hopefully this will be the last semester we have to do Zoom classes. I hope. So do look forward to seeing you and sort of meeting you, getting to know you through Zoom sessions. And I wish you the best for this semester, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.